If you're struggling to consistently close high ticket sales or even book 34 sales calls a week, right, I highly assure you watch this video because I'm going to break down the exact sales booking process and framework you'll need in order to, of course, efficiently scale your agency, coaching, or consulting offer. Okay, I'm going to break down the exact blueprint, give you all the strategies, all the resources, and of course, both of the frameworks to this so you can, of course, implement it and scale efficiently. This is the only sales booking process you will need in order to start booking 34 sales calls a week in the past 7 days, right? So look, I want you to understand one thing first, right? Before you watch this video, I want you to go ahead and watch this YouTube video first. This outreach strategy books me 34 plus sales calls a week. It breaks down the 4 sources of traffic, the 10 hours of interactions, the 10 touch points, and of course the whole cycle behind booking 34 sales calls, right? But I want to ask you something, guys. You can book 50, 60 sales calls a week, right? But if you can't close them, then it's not going to matter, is it, right? That's why I'm following on from this video. So, of course, you understand the whole entire sales booking process and understand the whole entire sales framework behind it. Okay. So initially, right, you want to send the prospect initial DM if they haven't messaged you already, right? And you can easily follow this framework. Have a unique opener. For example, yo, James, do you offer fitness coaching, by the way? Right? Just something unique instead of saying, instead of just being robotic and the same as everyone else, right? Be super unique. You could probably use ChatGPT and ask them to give you multiple unique openers. But yeah, right? Just be yourself. You can even send voice notes or personalized Zoom videos because that actually touch points your prospects a lot more. Okay. Essentially, right, once you get the first response, then you want to start building rapport. Okay. Build rapport, be super chill, be like, yo, I'm out here in Manchester, by the way. Where are you located at? Right? Just build some chill rapport. Talk about location, which is what everyone talks about, but at the end of the day, it's what gets the convo flowing. Okay. Then initially after that, you want to send some free value. So you can say something like, by the way, bro, I just created a XYZ cheat sheet or XYZ YouTube video to help XYZ niche with XYZ problem, right? You get the point of it. So essentially, send them a piece of free value because, that's what's going to make them more interested into you. Okay, they're going to start to trust you more because you've obviously built rapport with them already and, of course, sent them a piece of free value. Okay, then I want you to figure out their current situation. So figure out, what type of business they're in, for example, what type of business they're in, how many clients they're currently working with, what's their revenue, just something like that. Figure out their current situation, okay? Then after that, I want you to figure out their desired situation. For example, oh, got you, man. So so what type of goals are you working towards for this, of course, niche that you're in? Okay, something unique, something like that, essentially. Okay, once you figure out the desired situation, then you want to essentially find out what's holding them back from reaching XYZ desired situation. So if they're saying they want to reach 10K a month, you can just ask, okay, James, by the way, I'm just a little curious, what's really holding you back from getting that 10K a month, if you don't mind me asking, bro? Or you can even send a voice note just to make it more personalized, less salesy. So essentially at the end of the day, you don't want your prospect to have their guard up in the conversation, okay? And then after that, you can easily suggest booking a call to help find a solution through, of course, XYZ problem, which is what you've already figured out here. Okay. And then you essentially want to qualify the lead through an MQL scoring system, which, of course, I will put this in the description. But essentially, this is a whole MQL scoring system that you can use. I've already put the link to it here and kind of explained it into detail. Okay. So, of course, I'll link this down below as well. But essentially, this is what it looks like, right? And then once you've, of course, qualified the prospect, then you can send them a Calendly link, or you can even probably send them a Calendly link before you qualify them, and then you can probably qualify them after they've booked in, just to make it more safe and sure that they've actually gone and booked. Okay, I'm going to show you my calendar now and kind of how I've set it up, but essentially, right, I've managed to put in all this text here just to kind of show our slots are extremely limited, so missing our call without prior notice will forfeit your opportunity for a game plan call with me if you need to reschedule. You can do so from the link in the confirmation email. Please be respectful of my time. Thank you. Okay, something like that. And then I've made my Calendly for the 4 rolling days ahead. And of course, I've set like limited times. Of course, sometimes I'm actually booked out. For example, here, I've been booked out in the morning, and then so on and so on. But you can obviously limit your times, etc., right? Then let's say, for example, you select a time. You essentially want to have qualification questions, right? I don't want everyone to go ahead and copy the exact same as mine. You can take an idea from it and, of course, like change it into your own version, okay? Because if everyone has the same one, then you're not going to be unique at the end of the day, right? You're just going to look like every single other person who's trying to pitch. So make sure you have some unique questions, of course, questions that will resonate towards your own qualification process if you have it, of course. And then, yeah, once they schedule the event, they get a bunch of email and SMS reminders and confirmations, etc., right? Once again, you can easily do that through Calendly. I think if you have Calendly Pro, it's quite easy to set up, okay? Right, and then once that's set up, you want to essentially set up a post-booking video when someone books through to, of course, set expectations for the call and also decrease multiple no-shows. Essentially, this is my video, which I'm just going to quickly play a few seconds of it. Right, essentially, you get the gist of it. Sets expectations for the call, and of course, it will decrease no-shows that way. And also, email and SMS will also decrease no-shows because you're constantly reminding them and kind of like getting on their head about it. Okay, then essentially, you can either do this manually or get your appointment set to do follow-up messages on Instagram. For example, you can go ahead and message the prospect that's booked in saying, "Yo, James, super stoked for our call on Wednesday at 5 p.m. on Wednesday the 5th." Something like that. And then just wanted to also send you some more free resources over before our call as just a quick bonus. Okay, or you can say something like, "Just came up with an insane strategy for our call. I got a feeling you'll love it, bro." Because it makes them feel like you've actually took time out of your day to create something for them. So now they actually have to hop on that call, if you know what I mean. It's kind of smart, right? But of course, you do want to create like an insane strategy on the call just to not waste their time and lie about it. But after that, of course, if all implemented correctly and if you've watched this previous video as well, then you're going to start booking 34 sales calls a week, of course, if everything's done correctly. Okay. Essentially, right, once you book these calls, you're going to need to understand how to close a sale. And I've gave a bunch of sales advice here, okay? I'm going to give you the entire framework of sales, which you can easily implement. For example, I'm going to start off here. Closing is a sale. Closing a sale is one of the most important parts of selling a course or even a program or a service, whatever you do, right? As this is the part where you essentially make profits for yourself. Okay, but I want you to get this into your head, guys, right? Me too, right now. When you close a client, you don't want to think of it like you're taking the win because you're just making the money out of it, right? You and the client both take a win, okay? You guys are both putting in a risk. You guys are both winning at the same time, okay? And of course, there are numerous methods in closing a sale, such as body language, your tonality, and of course, being persuasive in order to draw in your clients. Okay. I want you to make sure to take notes down from, of course, what the prospect says on the call. And that's why I've highlighted it as well. Okay. Take down notes from every single thing your prospect says, just so it actually shows that you're listening and you actually care. Okay. Because that will also like make the prospects feel like someone actually cares for a situation and of course has a solution for a situation. Okay, I also want you to get this into your head, right? Do not read or follow a sales script, as sales is proven to actually be more harder when reading off a script. Okay, do everything naturally and just follow a framework and a guideline. Do not read off a script. Trust me, I've done it before when I first started out my agency, and honestly, I got no sales from that. And then obviously I changed into a framework, and that's where I've managed to scale on from that point. Okay, essentially, right, you can also have a pre-call ritual if you want. It's not mandatory, but it can actually help. Okay, essentially, you want to close your eyes, have 5 deep breaths, a glass of water, and I want you to read your affirmations out loud. Okay, and of course, before the sales call, I also want you to write down the prospect's name, where they're from based on their country code, how much they've saved up, and if they need a partner on the call. and you'll essentially figure all that out through the way you set up your Calendly questions, kind of like I showed you before. Okay, right? And the framework for sales is essentially this, right? First of all, you want to build rapport, kind of like you built rapport in the DMs. You want to also build rapport on the sales call, right? So introduce yourself and understanding the prospects on the call, essentially, right? Then you want to set the agenda of the call, telling them how the call will go, right? Then I want you to figure out their current situation. So ask some situation questions, for example, how much they're making now or how many clients that they have. Okay, then you can figure out their desired situation. So ask them what's stopping them from where they want to be in 6 to 12 months' time, right? Ask them where they want to be in 6 to 12 months' time. And then roadblocks is where you ask them what's stopping them from being there. Okay. Then essentially after that, you want to reconstruct everything you guys have covered in this part here. Current, desired, and roadblocks. You want to reconstruct everything, restate all their answers from the sections above. Okay. And then you essentially want to state your 3-pillar pitch. So the 3 main pillars of your business explained briefly, yet in a high level. Okay. Then you want to explain the logistics of your service, for example, tools of your program, the benefits and the help, etc. Okay, then you want to state the price. Give them the price of your service, and then this is a key reminder here as well. When you state the price, you need to be quiet. You need to let the prospects think and make the decision on their own. So once you say something like, "Cool, it's only 2K," do not speak after that until the prospect says something to you, right? This is where you want to be super chill and not pushy whatsoever. You want to have the prospect think in their mind, especially after you say the price. Okay. And of course, like every sales call, you're going to get objection handles. Okay. So you're going to get objections. So you have to understand objection handling. Handle any objections that they may have upon you. I'll give you one story right now. There was one sales call as well about a year ago now. I had 25 objections on the call, and I handled them all at good quality as well. But yeah, honestly, 25 objections, that was a good lesson for me, I'm not gonna lie. But trust me, learn your objection handling, okay? Then of course, once that's set and of course the prospect wants to pay, you can easily receive the payment while on the call, and that is crucial as well. Do not let the prospects walk away from the call without paying, okay? If they agree to, of course, work with you, okay? Then through the payment process of Fanbasis, which I will also link down below in the description. Fanbasis is the payment process that I use, and I know a lot of other entrepreneurs are starting to use nowadays, but they're very good guys. It's very easy to use and set up as well. Okay, and then of course you want to, of course, onboard the prospect. So once they've paid, explain the onboarding process, and then finally onboard them onto your whole service and set high expectations. But I want you to understand this as well. Make sure to invest the most amount of time and effort into your onboarding process. Okay, because this is essentially when the prospect is going to pay you. Okay, and of course, after they pay you, they're going to have doubts. They will have doubts. That's why you want to set the highest expectations possible, have the best onboarding process possible, so they feel like they know the clear path that they're going to go on, right? You want to make it as easy and as simple as possible for them, essentially. Okay, and another bit of sales here. Okay, this is, of course, regarding to the sales call. For any objection that you get, I want you to also, no, actually, let me say this. Have your camera on every sales call, right? Just so you can follow this overturn cycle. So for every objection that you get, you want to essentially smile and agree, okay? And then understand the 3 R's, right? So you want to read their mind, relax, and also relate, okay? So for example, if a prospect says, "Oh yeah, I need to talk to my wife about this. I'm not really too comfortable about investing on my own." Okay, you want to understand what they're saying. You want to relax and relate. So you can say something like, "Yeah, for sure, man. Like, happy wife, happy life. Am I right?" Like, you want to, at the end of the day, tell your wife what type of decisions you're going to make, especially financially. Am I right? Because once again, happy wife equals happy life. Okay, once again, just relate, relax, and read. Understand the 3 R's. Then you want to essentially pitch the 3 F's. So understand like how they feel, how they felt, and how they found. Okay, I completely understand how you feel, man. A lot of people actually felt the same way, but then when they found out XYZ, right? Use the 3Fs. The 3Fs and the 3Rs are super important, okay? And then, yeah, that's essentially the overturn cycle, right? And there's another reason why, there's 5 reasons, sorry, why people actually don't buy off of you. Number 1 is because they might not have the time. So essentially, these 5 reasons, you can easily go ahead and once this video is finished, build objections around this. Okay, so you can start practicing objection handling. People usually don't buy because of their time, their need, the urgency, the trust and validity of you, of course, and of course the money, right? So set up a money objection handle. Also, with the trust and validity, you need to set yourself as a figure of authority in your industry without a doubt. Okay, and of course, so on and so on, right? Another bit of sales advice here. If you charge a set price, let's say 2K, depending on the prospect's financial situation, you can easily break down the price into multiple segments, ensuring it's better for their financial situation. So, for example, if it's 2K, you can split that up into 4, 5, even 6 monthly payments. And of course, get a contract in place to ensure that your client will eventually pay you off. Okay. So once that's done, there's of course multiple different ways of pricing. Okay, premium pricing. So if you're delivering leads that print money, right, charge like it. Niche down, deliver results on investment, return on investment, and make them beg to pay you more. Okay. Then another pricing strategy: offer a done with you, done for you, and performance tiers. Right, clients choose based on how hands-on they want you, essentially. Okay. Performance based, pay us per lead, booked call, or per sale, right? It's risky if your funnel's leaky, but if it's tight, this model can actually scale you fast, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like a no-brainer, because at the same time, you're going to win and the client's going to win. Okay. Anchor pricing. Show a 15K a month retainer, then pitch your 5K core offer. Suddenly 5K feels cheap. Okay. Subscription, flat rate ads management, or monthly strategy consults. It makes revenue predictable and builds a long-term retention, essentially. Okay. You can also do pay what you want. So maybe for audits or first consults, build trust, but you better upsell hard after. Okay. I don't really recommend any of these, but these are just some pricing strategies I'm giving out to you guys, of course. Freemium, offer free lead gen, audit, or mini strategy session. Get your foot in the door, then close the real package. Or cost plus. It's not sexy, but if you're white labeling or outsourcing, you can easily do 2 times your base cost as your pricing model. Okay. But essentially, it's better to just charge a set price and follow this. Okay. But essentially, that is all the advice on sales and the sales booking process. But please go ahead and take advice from this video and from all this information I gave you and actually implement it, because I say this time and time again, so many people learn all this info but never actually implement it, and that's where it's got to change. Implement what you learn.